Welcome to Why Though the Podcast.
We did it! That
Baby!
was amazing!
Hi, Destiny.
Hi, Lizzy. How are you?
I'm pretty good. How are you? Oh, now there's I don't know if you can hear it, but I'm downtown at the office and there's sirens.
I
in the
can't hear
background.
it, so that's
Okay,
good.
well, that's great.
Yeah, I can hear it a little bit now. That's totally fine. The sights and sounds of Portland.
Yay!
I'm in
The
my
city.
home because we just couldn't make both arriving at the office today. And
Yeah.
also, I will say, I'm having some of the worst allergies I've had
Oh my god.
all year. So I feel like my little head is full of snot. So,
I'm sorry.
which is fine. It's just allergies. It'll be
Yeah, I know, but it's so frustrating, you know?
Yeah. Well,
In
welcome
some
to
ways,
Why
it's
Though
like,
the
oh yeah,
Podcast.
welcome to Why Though the Podcast.
Sorry.
That's what we're doing. We're here.
We are.
Happy spring to your allergies
Spring,
and
yeah.
all of us. It is beautiful weather outside today. So I'm sorry if you can't leave the house due to your allergies. but
Yeah, I mean, it's worth it. Just, bring a tissue and then
Yeah.
go enjoy the sunshine.
Get that. Because apparently it's going to start raining again.
Don't say that.
Okay, yeah, not going to happen. Never again. How are you, Destiny?
Besides the allergies, I'm doing
Yeah.
great. Glad to be alive, glad to be in the sunshine.
Did you
it
have
has
jury
been,
duty yesterday?
well, yes, as in I had to show up.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that I was going to be medically excused because of
Mhm.
my diabetes.
Mhm.
So the judge was really nice, and I did get called into like the 14-person panel. It was for a grand jury.
Okay, cool.
And
Fun.
yeah, it was fine. And basically, they call people off a randomized list from the big pool
Mhm.
of people that are there, and then they ask, "Do you have any hardships?" And so I had to raise my hand and be like, I was gonna give a whole spiel about how I unfortunately have to have my cell phone on me at all times because
Yeah.
it's part of the closed loop that has to do with my insulin pump. But I just was like, I'm a type 1 diabetic and I'm reliant on my insulin pump. And he's like, you're excused. I was like, okay, thanks.
Nice. Well, that's fun. I mean, it's great to do your civic duty, even to just show up.
Yeah, I would have loved to have participated. I started my career as a crime reporter, so I am interested in the proceedings of
And
crime.
they
And I
probably would
do
never
think,
pick you.
yeah, absolutely, that's another reason they would pick me. But it is important to do your civic duty. So if you get called for jury
Yeah.
duty, yes, it can be inconvenient, but it's important that we uphold this piece of democracy, which is
Totally.
a trial by jury. So please
Yeah,
do
and
it
like
if you are
it's good
picked.
to have like engaged people on the jury. I'm always trying to get on a jury. I get called for jury duty frequently. I
They
think
don't
this
want
year
us because we're reporters.
no, they don't want me for
Yeah.
so many reasons. Before I was a reporter, I was a student who was like, I'd love to be on this jury. I am a student, but I can't. I'd love to be on the jury. They're like, leave.
Yeah.
Too enthusiastic.
Mm.
But yeah, so we're here with Why Though the Podcast, which is a podcast about my advice column.
Her advice column's great. I'll talk her up so she doesn't have to talk herself up. But basically,
I'm happy to.
you can email Lizzy your questions, or she has this lovely Google form that you can now use to stay anonymous. It's in the description below and also linked in all of her columns. You can find them at OregonLive.com/whytho, WHYTHO. And she gives great advice about everything from family to relationships to plants. Yeah, it's great.
It's true. I have a lot of opinions on plants.
Yeah,
I do.
I love that.
Yeah, so today, I'll tell you, since I just sent it to Destiny, my column that's coming out today, so we record this on Tuesdays, it comes out on Thursdays, and my column comes out on Tuesday. Well, actually, we usually record on Mondays, but that's neither here nor there.
Jury duty.
She had jury duty. So I was out for a walk this weekend, and I hadn't gotten a question that really spoke to me. So I was out for a walk with my daughter, Nona, who I talk about constantly. She's 4. And so cute. And it was like a lovely walk. It was a beautiful day out. Got less lovely when she crashed on her bike. That sucked, but she's okay. She got a pastry and some more Easter eggs, and she's fine.
That's what I want to happen to me when I fall down.
Yeah, me too. It worked out.
Yeah.
But I have to say I noticed a few things, a little bit of behavior by my fellow humans that made me, the thing that I was thinking was that for Nona, who's 4, it was 4 years ago that we entered our first pandemic spring, which was kind of, I feel like, I don't know if you feel this way, Destiny, but I feel like it was when it really sort of hit home. Like, oh, this is bad and it's not going anywhere,
As soon as the
and I'm not
weather
going
turned
anywhere.
nice, and then you couldn't go anywhere or do anything, or
Yeah.
you didn't feel compelled to go anywhere or do anything, it was
Hmm.
a little dystopian.
Yeah, and I mean, things were still closed at that point, and like,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know. I think there's this thing about the pandemic, which is that it's still impacting every single aspect of our lives. And we also don't think about it all the time. But then sometimes it's sort of, for me at least, I'll be like, oh yeah, that thing, like that
Mhm.
happened and that like changed everything. And that was a really weird, scary, depressing time. And, so that was 4 years ago. And then the next spring, it was still bad. We still didn't do much. I mean, yeah, we're still masking everywhere, not going many places, seeing your friends at a distance, like hard. It was hard.
Mhm.
And so for my 4-year-old, I'm like, this is really only her second spring ever. And even this one, I feel feels different to me than the last one. Um, it's like people are out. I'm doing a lot more stuff. I don't know if you feel this way, but I feel like I last spring I was maybe thinking about doing more stuff, and now I actually am, and I'm almost like in this similar to my old life, but not the same ever.
So I mean,
Yeah,
uh technically have a disability.
yeah,
I don't call it that because I feel like that's a category of people that I don't necessarily fall into in a way that I wouldn't
hmm,
want to take something that behooves them to label themselves as, because it means they get
hmm,
extra resources and stuff like that. But there are lots
hmm.
of whatever. There's lots of discourse about that. So
Yeah,
I still mask everywhere. I mask
yeah,
at the grocery store. The only
hmm,
time I don't mask is when I come in to work to do the podcast with Lizzy. And Lizzy is very kindly
yeah. I'll
cognizant
tell you if I'm
of,
sick. Yeah,
yeah, of the germs that she brings in. But um, I'll probably have to be careful for the rest of my life. I was the only person wearing a
yeah,
mask at jury duty.
mm,
So for me, it's yes, there are more things open and I could do
hmm,
more things, but I
hmm,
still think about trying to get together with people outdoors
hmm,
and still masking and stuff. So
yeah,
it's same but different.
yeah. Well, actually, so what I ended up, the thing I was telling Destiny about this before, the thing that really set me off, I have to say, is we're walking down a very busy bike street, populated street, the kind of street that people are walking down, running down, biking down. And there was a big, to me, seemingly aggressive dog by itself in a front yard that was not fenced in, no human around, no leash. The dog came out of the front yard onto the sidewalk, like standing on the sidewalk looking at us. And I have to say, I have some baggage around dogs. I was attacked by dogs once, which, so now when dogs come at me, I am very scared. There's nothing I can even mentally process. It's just like fight or
Yeah.
flight. I got to get out of there. And I felt bad because this was after Nona had fallen. So I picked her up and not ran, walked quickly across the street.
Good. Yeah.
Like, I accidentally, her bike hit her in the leg and I felt terrible, but I was like, we got to get out of here. Like, I'm
Yeah.
thinking like, I don't want this dog to eat my child. Um, and I, so this led me to what I wrote my column about today. And what I think we can talk about a little bit is that like, maybe we need to remember that we all live in a community together, that we're like, what are the rules that we could follow to all of us have a good and happy spring together in the world? And so that's what I wrote my column about this week.
I think that's a great thing to write your column about. And as we briefly discussed, we always chit chat a little bit before the
Oh
recording
yeah,
starts, of course, because
of
we're
course, we're
friends and
buds.
also yeah, like just like to talk our
Like to talk to each
shit.
other.
Yeah. Um, I was saying that I'm like a crazy dog lady, and I recognize that
Mhm,
about myself. I have a dog and a half, essentially.
mhm,
I have my dog, and then my roommate adopted a dog who she spends a lot of time with my dog alone. I spend a lot of time with her dog alone, so we're basically
mhm.
like co-owners of all the
Yeah,
dogs. And
co-parents of the dogs.
yeah. And I spend so much time researching what's best for him, like what kind of food I can afford for him, what kind of supplements he needs as he gets older. I pay a lot of money to make sure he gets his teeth cleaned every year. He gets a comprehensive blood exam I'm crazy about my dog. I want him to have a great life.
Yeah.
Um, and I joke and say he's like my human son, which I've said on here before, which is mostly
And I
just I just
support
love
it. I
him. I want
support
him to
it.
have the best life.
Yeah.
That being said, as a crazy dog person, people who have their dog off leash are the worst kind of people.
I hate it. I hate it.
You can quote me.
I've written about it before, and actually, like, there is some, I hate to get too like this, but there's some like white supremacy involved, I think, in the idea of you have ownership over a space, so you can let your dog do whatever it wants. I mean, I've seen people in this town with their dogs off leash at a playground. This is not an off leash dog park. This is a
No.
playground with children playing. I've seen the dogs on the equipment, and I'm like, I'm not mad at the dog here
No.
because it's a dog. I'm mad at the person who is
Yeah.
allowing their dog to play on a playground. Like, I know that you
Correct.
think your dog is nice, and that's great. Maybe it is, but it is also an animal, and we don't know how it's going to
Yes.
react in every situation.
I don't
And like
care
that's
how
yeah.
well you think you know your dog. You don't,
Hmm.
because it's an animal and it speaks a language that you do not speak. And
Right.
so everything, all of the conditions could be exactly the same as to where your dog has been every day. And one day it could set off and it doesn't have hands to push a child away or push a
Right.
person away. It's going to
Right.
react with its teeth because this is
Hmm.
the only option really.
Yeah.
And then now the dog pays the price, right? The dog
Right.
eventually would be put down. If that is
Yeah.
the worst case scenario for you letting your dog off leash, which it is,
It is. It
why
absolutely
would you
is.
choose to do something that could harm a child and
Hmm.
also or a person and get
Anybody.
also
Yeah.
your dog put to sleep?
Right. Your
What's the
dog
matter
would
with you?
probably likely your dog's not going to kill a person. I mean, dogs do kill people,
They sure
but
do.
it's more likely your dog would hurt somebody and then be put down
Yeah.
because that's the like just statistically that happens more often
Hmm.
than the dog killing the person.
Yeah, yeah,
But you
yeah.
don't want to be responsible for your dog killing a person either.
No, that's
Um,
insanity.
or another dog. I mean,
Yes.
that's the other
Right.
thing is a lot of people that I know who are really adamant about dogs on leashes are dog owners who have dogs that aren't
Mhm.
necessarily good with other dogs, or they don't know how the other dog they're going to react around other dogs, or they're littler dog. Like it just makes me crazy, and I just want everyone to know they are responsible for their dog.
It
It
literally.
is your
That
responsibility.
animal's life is in your hands. Like, you should
Yeah,
take that responsibility seriously.
yeah. And if you want your dog to be off leash, there are places where your dog can be off leash.
Oh,
You can
yeah.
have a fenced backyard. You can have a fenced front yard. You can go to an off leash dog park, of which there are many in this
There are
town.
many.
But the other spaces are not spaces for your dog to be off a leash.
And I hate also, so like we joke here, we have what's called the dog cacophony, and every day at about 4:30 o'clock, all of the dogs in my neighborhood, which Lizzie's been here, it's very walkable. There are always
It's
people
so cute.
walking,
Yeah.
biking, running. It's very like it's the
Hmm.
burbs. And
Hmm.
so the dogs kick off at about 4:30. The little dog that lives here, Peanut Butter,
Hmm.
she also kicks off. My big dog Watson, he doesn't really bark at anything, so he does
Yeah.
not bark, which is fine. He's because he's weird, and that's okay. But
Hmm.
when I hear people letting their dogs just bark into the ether, I think, what is the matter with you? You hear your dog barking, whether they're outside or inside. Go get your animal. I can hear your
Right.
dog from across the
Right.
neighborhood. Get a
Hmm.
grip. People
Yeah.
are
Like
insane about their animals.
figure
It
out
drives me
what's
nuts.
wrong. You know what I mean? Like that's your dog trying to
And
communicate
if you're
something. So
like,
like
oh, my
figure it
dog's
out.
just barking because it sees stuff, okay, take away the stimuli. Bring the dog inside the house.
Right. Yeah, you're
Anyway, I want to
responsible for
hear
your
what
dog.
you're for.
Okay, so that
Oh,
was
I'm so
one of
sorry.
them.
I'm so
It was
sorry. Yeah.
like, no, 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 totally. I'm happy this is what kicked it off. If you
Yeah.
just, and this is what, like, this is the main thing that I've witnessed
Mm,
on
hmm.
Easter that was like, and it was actually more than one. And
Just a
that's the
lack
thing.
of
It was,
consciousness of the
yeah, a lot,
people.
people with
Yeah.
dogs. And like, and if you live around town, you know, those people, some people don't pick up after their dogs when they
Yeah.
poop. Some people do put it in a bag and then put it on the sidewalk. Like,
That's so
just
weird
don't
to
do
me.
those things.
Yeah.
Just throw it away. I
Just
mean,
throw it
like,
away.
there's a reason I don't have a dog. And it's, one of the big reasons is I don't want to pick up poop. And that is your job if you have a dog. So
It absolutely is.
please do it.
I will say that
Mhm,
my big dog, my dog Watson,
mhm.
he likes privacy when he poops, so he often enters a bush, like fully goes inside of a bush
Okay, well,
to poop. And so sometimes I don't crawl in
can't.
there after
Yeah, if
him,
you
but
can't look, yeah, that's
but not all
kind of
dogs are that
adorable,
way.
actually. Yeah, yeah.
He's
Like if
crazy. I
your
love
dog is
him.
potty trained, like Destiny's dog, then it's a whole different story. I'm just
But no,
thinking
I
about the
totally
dog poop
agree.
that's been on my parking strip for like a week that I'm like, I need to pick it up, and it's so gross. It's just not my dog's poop, and I don't want to pick it up, but I'm going to. I need to.
Yeah,
Anyway,
so rude.
I had others. So I think one easy one, first one is like don't pick flowers. Do not pick the flowers. We've
Hmm.
talked about this before. Like I have a much more nuanced policy on fruit picking,
Hmm.
but flowers, don't pick them. Don't pick other people's flowers. You
No.
can pick weeds, sure, that are at the park, sure. But even at the park, do not pick the flowers. Like
Hmm.
someone is planting those flowers, and the whole point is for everyone to enjoy them.
Yep.
So please don't pick the flowers. I
Yep.
think
Good.
that's
I
pretty
mean,
easy.
dandelions are everywhere
Yeah,
right now.
daisies,
You know
little
what kids
daisies.
love to do? Blow on
Yeah,
dandelions. Like, go get
right,
them. They're everywhere.
right. Yeah, if Nona picks a dandelion, cool.
Yeah, it's a
But
weed.
I would never like let my child pick someone's flowers.
Yeah, no,
And
absolutely.
as an
It's
adult, you shouldn't be
disrespectful.
like out there with scissors cutting other people's flowers.
Yeah, I say that, but if anybody saw me taking the flowers from my neighbor's yard, he told us to.
Right. And you
We
know
have a
what?
neighbor that has like a lot of daffodils. He was like, "Can you guys take these?" So one day when I walked by, I did to make like a
Oh,
little
that's
picture. He's
cool.
very sweet, yeah.
Yeah. Well, see, that's a
But
completely
that's
different
the
story. Yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah.
totally.
Totally. And okay, then I'll go to my last one because I think kind of relates to something we were talking about, which was I just like take that feeling of judgment you feel. Like I feel like once we're all together, we see people doing things that are different than us or things that we wouldn't do. Don't roll your eyes.
Mhm.
Don't make a comment about somebody else's choices, whether it's you think their shorts are too short, whether they're wearing a mask at the store, whether it's a person on a jog without a shirt. Just none of your business. Don't roll your eyes. If you must text your friend a joke about it, that's fine. But like keep it off your face and keep it out of your mouth.
Yeah, for
No
sure.
judgment. We don't know. Like everyone is living their own life, and like Destiny is wearing a mask for a very good reason. Lots of people, if you see people wearing masks, they're doing it for a reason. And it's really none of your business.
Beeswax, for
None of
sure.
yours. Yeah. And then my final one, and I also want to hear what you might have as your rules for this. But my final one was like it was actually in relation to dogs. Dogs should be on a leash, children should be unleashed. I think that dogs are your responsibility. When you have a dog, it's your responsibility. I think children are kind of like all of our responsibilities. And especially, you know, if you see kids outside, just be nice to them. Don't call the police on kids that are like at the park by themselves. Like our kids, and I'm talking about kids that are older than Nona, because like I
Sure.
said, she's only 4. But even the other day, she and her friend were just like playing in front of their house and like they were alone. And it's actually very important for kids' development to be alone without adults and to like be outside and not be in front of screens and to be like getting
Hmm.
into a little bit of trouble. So I just want us to all like work together to support that. So if you like see kids out in the wild, just be nice to them. If they need
Please,
help, help
yeah.
them. Yeah, be chill, be cool, be cool about it.
I think that's such a big point. I feel like we've taken a turn at some point in the last 4 years or maybe even
Hmm.
longer where like a lot of people be calling the cops on other people for no reason, essentially.
Yeah.
First
Hmm.
of all, it's a waste of resources. Second of all,
Yeah.
I remember I'm from a small town and
Hmm.
when I was a youth, there wasn't a lot to do. So we would
Hmm.
go to the library or we
Hmm.
would go to the kids park, which was like a big park in the
Hmm.
city. And we were never destructive, but we were just moody teens that were there being moody
Right.
teens. But we never defaced anything. We never lit anything
Right.
on fire. We never took anything. That like we
Right.
were just there because there's
Hmm.
nowhere else to be. And while
Yeah.
there are a lot of places in Portland for kids to be,
Yeah.
it's okay if they're in places,
They
you
have to
know.
be places. They
Yes,
they
like
like they are people.
unless you see them in like a strip club, mind your
Right.
business.
Exactly. If you see one in danger, then you should help
Yes.
them, assist the
Yes.
children. Call the police if a child is in danger. But a kid riding their bike alone is not in danger, or a kid at the playground, like a couple of kids, they're elementary school age. I mean, I used to go to the playground with my friends every day, and there was no, why would my mom be there? That's
Right.
not, I mean,
Yeah.
obviously this is the 90s. It's a little different, but why? Like,
Mhm.
because technically it should, like, I don't want any child to get abducted, but it's not a thing that happens very often.
Mhm.
I'm more concerned about, honestly, like cars hitting children.
Yeah.
So drive slowly, slow down, keep your eyes peeled, head on a swivel.
Mhm.
And also, like, I feel like, and maybe this is just online discourse, but there's a lot of people who get annoyed with kids at like restaurants and stuff. Like,
Yeah, I've seen a lot of that. Very a lot of we've talked about this
yeah, the
anti-kid rhetoric.
anti-child thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like we're just teaching them to be people. Yeah, they might be
You had to
loud.
learn too.
Yeah, everyone has to learn. We have to learn everything.
Yeah.
Humans, unlike like kangaroos that are just get out of the pouch and they're hopping around, like humans have to learn everything.
Mhm.
And I mean, we don't even know how to pee right.
Right.
Like we
We
have to
can't even
learn
breathe.
it all.
We can only
Barely.
breathe out of like one of the orifices at once as a child, so
We
we're
don't
not
know
equipped.
anything. So, like, you should actually, when you see a kid at a restaurant that's not on an iPad, that might be kind of like wiggling around or getting in trouble, like, be glad because
Yeah.
it's not actually good for all of our kids to always be on iPads. They need to learn how to engage with the world. Anyway,
Mhm.
that's my soapbox.
I think
What
something
do you think, Dusty?
people could do to have a more productive spring maybe
Hmm. Hmm.
is
Yeah.
quite literally touch grass.
Oh, yes.
Whatever kind of grass that is for you, get
Hmm.
out outside, take a walk, go to a park. There's many nice ones in Portland, which is
A
great.
lot.
Many
Hmm.
lovely walkable ones that
Yeah.
are ADA accessible. So if you're not
Hmm.
a person who walks, you can roll on by some nice
Right.
flowers. I love when the sun is out to spend time in my backyard. I actually started this is a little sneak peek into my favorite thing, but I started some seed starters for I like to garden in spring. And
Ooh, I love it.
so, just get out, get out. You should
Hmm.
also not be on your screens all the time. And trust me,
Yes, exactly.
I love a screen. I love a screen.
Yep.
If it's my Kindle or I'm playing a video game
Hmm.
or whatever, but just go outside and get some vitamin
Yeah,
D, touch some grass.
right.
It's
Remember that
good
we
for
live on
you.
planet Earth and like it's a
See strangers.
miracle,
Yeah.
right? Like all of this is just because a few atoms hit together at the right time and like wow, we have an atmosphere. It's
Mhm.
amazing. So yeah, you should go outside
Yeah.
and appreciate it.
And I think you should talk to your nice neighbors. I have nice neighbors.
Totally, yeah. Hmm.
My neighbor across the street, he just had knee surgery. And so I
Hmm.
was like, if you need anything, like, let me know. Like, just,
Hmm.
I think we lack, I think, sort of the root of, and you've talked about this before, the
Hmm.
root of like this lawless, no leash dog situation is that like we lack a sense of community, right? When you have a
Yeah.
sense of community with
Hmm.
the people who live around you, you don't do things to tick them off,
Right.
because they're
Totally.
your buds, whether they're just casual buds or like whatever. But
Hmm.
like, the guy down the street who told me to pick his flowers, he's so nice. He
Hmm.
grows apples and he gives us apples when, yeah,
Oh my
he's the
God, I love
nicest.
it. Yeah.
So just
Right.
I'm not saying you have to be BFFs with your neighbor, but like while you're
No.
touching the grass, if you see them, you could just give them a little wave.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
knowing your
nice.
neighbors is really beneficial for your like emotional well-being, I would say. It's like it's very nice to feel like you live in a community with people who care about you, who are like
Mhm.
interested if something bad were to happen, they help you.
Mhm.
And also like when I getting back a little bit to the kid thing, it's like knowing for kids, knowing there's this whole group of adults that know
Mhm.
them in the neighborhood, even if they're not directly with their parents. Like
Mhm.
when I was a kid, when I was like a late teen, like say in college, if I was at home in the town where I grew up, I would never smoke a cigarette. Smoking cigarettes was something I liked to do when I was being tough, you know? And I would never do it in Corvallis because I did not know whose mom would see me and report back to my mom.
Right.
Like, there is a benefit to having this whole network of adults who are kind of like, I know that kid, you
Hmm.
know? Like, it keeps you safe, I think.
I agree. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It keeps all of us
So
safe. Yeah,
just, go forth, be gentle with yourself, but also like try not to be a menace to the people around you. It's really so easy.
totally. It's so
Um,
easy. And it's so
and
much nicer,
it's
honestly.
like a little embarrassing when I see people do stuff that's like way out of pocket and you're just like, what's the matter with you? Follow the
Right.
fourth rule, which is like don't roll your eyes. Say it
Right.
with your
Yeah.
inside voice
Right.
in your inside head.
Just
But
text,
that's what I
get on the
do.
group chat.
Yeah.
Destiny, you will not believe the thing I just
Yeah,
saw.
yeah, yeah. Everyone has
Yeah.
a secret bad person inside of them.
Yeah.
Just share it with the
And
people
that's
who
fine.
embrace your bad person. That's fine.
Totally. Yeah. They like you for who you
Well,
are.
if you want the full spiel of how to have a better spring and not be a menace to the people
Hmm.
around you, you can check out Why Though the advice column at
Yeah.
OregonLive.com/why though.
Hmm.
And Lizzy, do you
That's
have
where to be.
any smashes or passes?
I do.
You do?
I have a smash I'm gonna start
Tell
with.
me.
So, I can't believe I didn't mention this last week. Well, you know what? I didn't mention it last week because I had just started on my sourdough journey. It
That's
is the
right.
year 2024, but not 2020 when everyone else started on their sourdough
You
journey.
know what?
And I made a sourdough starter from scratch yesterday.
Does it have a name?
Baked. Yes, Nona named it Unicorn Princess Snort. No, Unicorn Sparkle Snort, I believe.
Unicorn
Unicorn
Sparkle
Sparkle
Snort.
Snort.
Love that.
Yeah, I gotta remember it.
Hmm.
So now it's official, podcast official, Unicorn
Yeah.
Sparkle Snort.
Hmm.
Yesterday I made my first loaves of bread and they were like kind of amazing. So
Wow.
good. Yeah, it worked out. I'm
That's
just,
super
anyway,
cool.
so making sourdough bread. Yeah, I'm 4 years too late, but it's cool.
No, you're a late sourdough bloomer.
Yeah. And then I used some of the starter to make sourdough waffles this morning, which were sick in a good way.
Wow. I love that.
Yeah. What about you? Do you have a smash?
I
Smash?
do have a smash. So my
Me
smash
too.
is I like to garden. I'm not that good at it. My grandma had a really
Who
prolific
needs to be good?
garden she had like an earthworm compost bed that I used to play in as a disgusting little child, but she grew all sorts of things and
Hmm.
I've never been I have lots of indoor plants, as you can see. There's a mess
Hmm.
right there. But the outdoor plants is a different world. So I've been trying, and for the past few years, I've grown tomatoes with great success. Love that.
Yeah, love it.
Um, and last year, grew cucumbers, but I didn't pick them soon enough because I
Mm.
was like out of town, and so by the
Oh
time I got
yeah,
back, they're like bitter and
that's a
gross.
bummer.
Totally fine. So this
Yeah.
year, I have started my seed starters. I will show you, in fact, because they are right
Yes.
here. Please hold.
Ooh, what do you got in there?
You can see them in that tiny
Yeah.
container right there.
Uh-huh.
And if you didn't know, you can watch this podcast on YouTube also at the
Oh
Oregonian
yes.
YouTube channel, and you can see my seed starters. I am growing tomatoes and cucumbers, cabbage, and then also in there is the start of an inside plant called a sensitive plant.
Ooh,
Um, but they're going great,
that's
and I will put
awesome.
them in the outdoors in about 3 weeks. So
I I love that for you. And
very fun
also
though.
you already have this like beautiful garden at your house.
I do, yeah. The backyard's really nice.
Like, yeah, no, Destiny has a pretty amazing backyard.
Yeah.
Well, I love that. Let's see,
Thank
what's a
you.
pass? Do you have a pass on the top of your head, or should I guess I have one.
You do okay.
Well, it's kind of a pass. So, as you know, I'm going to the eclipse next week, and
Yes.
apparently it might rain.
No.
That's okay. It's okay. I'm okay with
I
it.
mean,
It's still gonna be
yeah.
fun. It's still gonna
Yeah.
be fun. Still gonna be an adventure. But it is kind of funny.
Yeah,
It's
it's gonna
Texas. It's like beautiful. Maybe rain. We're a little ways out. We're too far out for a really, you know.
yeah, it could change on a dime, you
Yeah.
never know.
Well.
So,
Anyway, cross your fingers for me.
I'm crossing my fingers for you and
Yeah.
I expect a full report. My pass is health insurance.
Oof. Yeah. The worst.
I won't even get into it because it's like
Yeah.
my business, but I mean, I've had to place probably 8 phone calls over the past 2 days just to be told tell this person all of your ailments. No, tell this person all of your ailments. No, only we can give you this medication. Oh, you have something else the matter with you? You can stay with your doctor. They can give you that medication. All the while, I'm sitting on a medication that I can't get approved that I need, which is so annoying. And
That
it
is.
at a certain point, it feels like it's purposely hard. And I know that there are structures.
It is.
Yeah, there are structures in our society that are purposely meant to like keep people ignorant. Taxes is one of them, and like
Mhm.
voting obviously is a big one. Things that just are completely not accessible for um, people to behoove businesses, essentially. And this is
Mhm.
like bigger than it's not like our company. This is like
Mhm.
a structural thing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And so, just when you have to feel the burden of that, it's pretty irritating.
Awful. Yeah.
I have felt that I have spent too many hours just ruminating and being irritated about it, and that's annoying to me too.
I mean, one is too many, to be
Yeah.
honest. One is too many hours. That's like you're trying to do something to take care of your health and your body, and like
Mm.
spending time being frustrated and making phone calls.
Hate to make a phone call.
What is this, 1999?
That's what I'm
Come
saying.
on,
Just text me.
just text. Just like have a form online. Like, let's make this easy.
Well, let me say I am very thankful to have insurance because I
Yeah,
have
of course.
ailments that need insurance. Don't get me wrong, but like I wish it were less of a burden. I
Right.
wish I could enjoy it more.
Yeah, totally. I mean, what a bummer. I also I feel you, and it's also, what is it? March, April? Like,
Yeah. I hope I
so
will
it's the
meet my
beginning of the
deductible
year.
soon, and I think that will cause less issues for me, which will be great.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Sorry.
That's fine. It's whatever.
Fingers
Let me know
crossed for all of us.
about the rain, yeah, in Texas. I would love to
I
know.
will, yeah.
And I'm sure Lizzy will have lots to report on.
Oh yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah,
But it won't be next week, because next week I'm gonna be in Texas.
Y'all.
But there will be an episode of Why Though. Don't
There
worry.
will be. Don't worry, and we will catch you then.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
Listening to Why Though the podcast. Subscribe for weekly episodes wherever you listen to podcasts, and don't forget to leave us a 5-star review. If you're looking for more Why Though, check out my column that comes out every Tuesday on OregonLive.com. You can support our local journalism by going to OregonLive.com/pod support.